Hey folks, Alex here, 9 to 5 to Freedom. In today's video, we're going to talk about what is the best Bitcoin paying dividend ETF. Now, if you're familiar with Bitcoin paying ETFs, we know that there are offerings from companies like Roundhill, YieldMax, Neos, and others. And when it comes to picking the best one, oftentimes we're left confused. So I wanted to do some comparisons in this video. Since I did hold BTCI at one point, which I really enjoyed getting those dividends with the rally that we've seen on Bitcoin. So that's what we're going to talk about. What are the different funds? What are their performance? Comparing them. And hopefully that helps you pick what works best for you. So let's hop into it, folks. All right, first, let's take a look at Bitcoin. All right, so Bitcoin, we're up 0.81% today. This is as of August 4th, float around $115,000. Now you can see that we had a slight pullback since yesterday, but nothing too crazy. Now, if we look at year to date, we see that we hit that all-time high back on July 18th at over $120,000. So we're still very close to that all-time high, just a recent small pullback here that we've seen. Now, I did hold BTCI, like I said, in my portfolio, and this was a fund from Neos, which I really enjoyed. It paid a nice steady dividend of around 28% per month, and 28% per year, which paid on a monthly basis, and it was appreciating as the price of Bitcoin was going up. At one point, I was up like 15% on my BTCI position, which was pretty awesome. Now, somebody reached out in the comments and they said, well, why don't you look at YBTC? And other folks have mentioned YBIT. So I wanted to do a deep dive in. So let's take a look at what I'm familiar with. Like I said, this was BTCI. Now, this one's from Neos, okay? Year to date, we're up 1.11%. And let's take a look at the website BTCI. Like I said, monthly, and we have about a 28% annual distribution rate. Now, expense ratio is 0.98%, which is very typical for these type of funds. So this one has been a great performer. As you can see with the recent pullback, we're not up as much, but we are getting that juicy dividend. Now, if we look at the maximum, we're up 22.67% since this fund came out, which was around $50 a share. So really nice. Okay, let's talk about the next one here, and this is YBTC. This one is from Roundhill. Okay, now I really like Roundhill funds. I have XDT, QDT. One's on the NASDAQ, and the other one is on the S&P 500, which I really enjoy. What's cool about the Roundhill one, folks, is this one is a weekly payer. And if you've seen my videos, you see that I enjoy weekly paying ETFs. It's really nice to get that paycheck on every Friday. You don't have to wait a whole month and be exposed to the market volatility. Now, Roundhill, let's take a look at our maximum performance. We are down 3.81% of all time. Year to date, we are down 6.32%. As you can see, we are in the red for the year, as opposed to the one from Neos. And what is the reason behind that? Well, let's go to the Roundhill website. We'll try to zoom in here. And I think this should be a giveaway right here. Their distribution rate is 49.1%. Okay, so they're paying you a higher dividend every single Friday. And I think that's where you're starting to see some of that NAV going down, especially when Bitcoin pulls back. I think that's a big thing to understand, that as the markets are going up, you won't really notice that pullback, but as the markets start to go down, you will feel that. So if we look at the 1 month performance, you see we're about 1% up, and let's compare that to BTCI. BTCI is up 3.42%. Okay, so what do I like about this Roundhill one? Well, first off, if you need more money up front, I think the juicy 49% distribution rate is awesome, and I do like the weekly payouts. Okay, so I think that's pretty cool. Let's take a look at their expenses. Okay, so expense ratio 0.96. Okay, and this one was 0.98, so very close, pretty much the same. All right, and let's see. Okay, yeah, so that's from Roundhill, YBTC. I really enjoy Roundhill. I love their funds, so I think they do a great job. Now, the next one here we want to look at is from YieldMax, and this is called YBIT. Okay, so this one, look at this. We are down 15.4% year to date. 1 month, we're up 2%, and maximum, we're down 45%. Now, if you guys are not new to YieldMax, you know that a lot of their funds kind of have the same trend. They give you a lot up front, but they will erode after a while. Let's take a look at what they're paying. YBIT is paying 46.58%, and let's see here, they are a monthly payer, so you got to wait a month to get your dividend. Let's see what they charge for running this fund for you, and that is 0.99%. So out of the three, it's the most expensive one. Now let's compare all three of them all together. So I like to use TradingView. This is a free platform. You can compare a lot of the funds. So I plugged in, let's see here. Let's look at year to date. So if we start January 1st and we put our money in here, this is how they rank. So up top, we have BTCI 1.4% in the green, followed by Roundhill's YBTC down 6.23%, and coming in last place, YBIT down 15% from YieldMax. Now, if I click this little button here, and let me get my face out of the way, it says ADJ. If you click that, that will count in the dividends. So now with the dividends counted in, how did the three of them perform? You can see that BTCI is up 20.15%, YBTC is up 20.03%, and YBIT is up 18.90%. Let's take a look at the 6-month chart. Again, with the dividends counted in, you can see that YBTC actually now ranks up top, almost 18%, followed by YBIT at almost 16%, and lagging BTCI at 15%. At the 1-month chart, again, we have BTCI going up top, YBIT in the middle, and YBTC down last. As you can see here from comparing all three of these, they are very similar in their performance. And it all depends at what point you buy into them, right? So if we look at the 5-day, you can see they're all pretty much the same. BTCI had the largest, down at 2.59%. Let's look at all time. Let's look at 1 year. Okay, so 1 year. So BTCI launched October 24, so we can't get a 1 year on that. But if we move our chart over, let's look at that October time frame. BTCI is up 60%, YBTC 51, and YBIT 43. Okay, so what is my conclusion? Well, my conclusion is I think if I look at these charts, I think they all perform fairly close if we look at just the average time frames of you getting into these funds. Now, what is the difference? And I think this difference really translates the same to all of the other funds that we're seeing from all three of these funds like Roundhill, YieldMax, and NEOS. If I were to compare just overall these three companies that run any of the funds, if you think of YieldMax like the YMAX funds, the YMAG, and you compare to Roundhill funds like XDT, QDT, you compare it to NEOS funds like SPY-I and QQQI, the way that I've seen all of them perform are very similar. If you want to go with very conservative amount of dividend in your pocket, but you want to keep up that NAV and you want that NAV to go up, you go to the NEOS funds. The NEOS funds, they don't overpay, and they hold their NAV very, very well. So I think if you're a conservative investor, and again, none of this is financial advice, but if you're a conservative investor, from what I've seen, if you go to something like SPY-I, you're getting 12% here. It's not a lot. You're getting that monthly, but your NAV is keeping up. And this is just looking at SPY. Same can be said about this BTCI. BTCI is only paying out 28%, but your NAV is keeping up in the green. So if you like seeing your dollars in the green and you don't mind getting a little bit less of a dividend, I think NEOS funds are great for that. It's for folks who still want to see and experience a little bit of growth in their portfolio that don't need the income as much as others. Now, I think on the other spectrum is when you get into the yield max funds. Now, this one might not be apples to apples because yield max in this situation is actually paying out less than Roundhill is. Roundhill is at 50%, but typically yield max funds will pay out a lot more and they will decay a lot faster over time. If we go back to the trade and view chart, we'll just look at year to date. You can see that YBIT, which is from yield max, if we look at without the dividend, it's eroded the most. It was down 15%. Okay, so that tells me that however they're running this fund, they're not able to keep up with the NAV. And in this situation, maybe they paid out more of a dividend in the past. Maybe they've scaled down. So if we scroll here a little bit, we can see, let's go back to June of last year. They're paying $1.37 per share. And then it's fluctuated, and the latest payment was only 38 cents. So as that NAV started to decrease, their payments started to decrease as well. Now I think right smack in the middle is the Roundhill fund. And this one, again, you're not seeing as much of an erosion, and you're getting more of a dividend as opposed to NEOS. You're not just getting 28%, you're getting almost 50%. If we look at year to date, we did lose our NAV 6.32%, but we were getting all of that 50% from this fund. Now again, going back to the comparison of the three on the year-to-date chart, you see that BTCI is up 1.32% on its NAV. YBTC is down 6%. Now counting in dividends, you can see that the performance between the two, BTCI was up 20.05% and YBTC is up 20.03%. So it's pretty much the same thing, right? So I think something like Roundhill's YBTC, I think it's an awesome middleman because you're getting a lot more dividend up front, and though you are seeing a little bit of an erosion, you're still performing the same as you would with BTCI, and you're getting a weekly payment. So that is my analysis on these three funds. I think overall they all perform very similar, and I don't think, if you want to have a Bitcoin exposure, in my opinion, I don't think you have to pick one or the other, or you can pick two, right? So for me, I have experience with BTCI, and I've seen the performance of it, and I really liked it. So, but I also like seeing this weekly payment from Roundhill. So possibly when I get my position back into this Bitcoin paying ETF, I think I want to maybe spread it between the two. And then that way BTCI will be like a bonus check that I receive once a month. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. What are your favorite funds? Are there other funds from other fund managers that I haven't covered? And I can do that as well. So if you like this kind of content, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Give me a thumbs up, and we'll see you on the next video, folks. Take care.